Hey, nice to meet you. Um, I obviously I want to talk about Terrifier 2, but before we get into that, as much as I love horror, a huge guilty pleasure of mine is Christmas movies.
Oh,
Um, I watched the Slate to Screen challenge for A Taste of Christmas this morning,
mhm.
and while I haven't seen the film, it has skyrocketed to the top of my watch pile for the holiday season.
Oh
So
gosh, that's so wild. I love that you have killer clown masks in the back. Like, I love Christmas movies.
yep, it's weird. I like all holiday films. Like I kind of seek out Thanksgiving films, Easter films, but I have this like weird soft spot for like obviously those like serendipity Christmas movies, and then also those like weird animal Christmas movies.
Yeah,
So
there's a nice balance of love and joy and gore, and I love
eh,
that.
yeah, and oddly enough, a lot of horror directors tend to work on holiday features as well. So with this particular film, I'm curious, what can you tell me about the project and like how did you get involved with it as well?
The Christmas film?
Yes.
I actually filmed that. It's so funny because my first day on Terrifier 2, which was on October 28th, 2019, I got an audition request through my agent in North Carolina, because I have multiple agents, for A Taste of Christmas, the Christmas film. So I was like, oh crap, I have to learn this. So I had to learn my lines as I was filming my first day of Terrifier 2, because I had to film the next day with my acting coach. So I didn't sleep at all. I remember I was in New York for that scene, and I didn't sleep at all. I drove all the way to Pennsylvania, which is where my acting coach is, so hours of driving. Immediately went to my acting coach and filmed that scene. So it was exhausting. I was exhausted for my audition, and I found out that I booked the part like I think a week or two later. So I had to take a little bit of a hiatus from Terrifier 2, and I went to Georgia to film that film, a Taste of Christmas. And it went through a couple different titles. I think it was originally Christmas Romance Al Dente, then A Taste of Christmas. I don't know, a lot of different titles. So I get confused sometimes. But it was nice taking a break from that Halloween scary world and
Yeah.
doing like a lovey-dovey, a little cheesy but sweet Christmas film. So yeah.
And then also too, I saw you have a few stunt credits, and outside of this, I'm also a co-host for an MMA betting and analysis podcast. So I was surprised to find out that you have all the martial arts experience, 19 years of Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, the list goes on. So how did you get started in fighting? And then has ultimately, how did that kind of helped your acting career?
Yeah, it's so funny. People often think that martial arts led me into cinema, where it's kind of the other way around. I was always like a cinema lover. I loved old Hollywood, and I grew up with my grandma most of the time because my mom was working a lot. And I would watch a lot of like I Love Lucy, a lot of old movies. And then I discovered Bruce Lee, and I fell in love immediately. I loved Bruce Lee, and I wanted to be like him. That was my dream growing up. I was like, I want to be like a badass leading lady that does martial arts. So I decided like very little to do martial arts as soon as I could, And I just wanted to eventually do theater, but it just never happened. And I didn't start acting until like 5 years ago. So I haven't really been doing it for that long. And I started taking an acting class. And in my acting class, I met these awesome stunt performers that we had a mutual friend through martial arts, and we got really close, and I started training stunts with them just for fun. I didn't think anything would come of it, but I was already acting at this point, and through them I got a couple stunt gigs because everybody kind of knows each other on the East Coast stunt world in New York and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, they kind of have gone hand in hand, and they've helped me. Martial arts has helped me with acting, and acting has helped me with martial arts in a lot of different ways. So I'm really happy that I was able to marry the two, especially in Terrifier 2.
Yeah, that's kind of my going towards my next question here. I saw your boxing reel as well, and it has had a significant jump in views. Is this something that we can maybe expect to see more of in Terrifier 3?
Oh, I can't really speak on that. really know. However, if it were up to me, I would love to see Sienna level up. I would love to see her have this really badass training sequence. I would love to see her like turn into like a Sarah Connor. I would love that. But again, it's not up to me. It's up to Damien in the end. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I believe after the credits, he said that they showed this like little featurette, and it was kind of saying that he had a different plan for you, but then after working with you and going through COVID and the editing process, now there's this whole wide range of things he wants to do with your characters. So that interests me a lot. The narrative, the storytelling aspect. So I'm very excited to see where your character goes in particular. Obviously you have a wide range of genres, throughout your catalog. We talked about the Christmas stuff, but you have action, drama. Is it your range and maybe your skills that helped you kind of be cast in Terrifier 2? I mean, you didn't, we haven't even mentioned your weapons training, and then I'm sure some of these kind of set you apart from the competition, but has Damien maybe mentioned if there's anything particular as to why you are the yin to Art's yang?
You know what? I don't think Damien knew about my martial arts experience originally when I was auditioning. I'm pretty sure he didn't. So, and I really didn't think I was the right fit for Sienna, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I connected with her pretty quickly. My first audition was an argumentative scene between Sienna and Barb, who's her mother. So I felt that because I grew up with a single mom. So it was just really easy for me to slip into that character. But I didn't think I was right for Sienna. I even sent my audition to a friend of mine because I thought she would be a much better Sienna. And I think she ended up auditioning, but I ended up keep getting the call back. And I really couldn't tell you what I did that Damien liked. I'm happy that he cast me in the end, but I have no idea. I wish I could answer that. But I do think that in the end, my martial arts experience did help me, but I don't know if Damien knew that going in. So who knows?
That's pretty cool to hear. And obviously this film is pretty brutal. You audition, you get the role, and now you have the script in your hand. I've heard you hadn't seen Terrifier 1 prior to being cast in this. At what point do you think, wow, this is a lot? Ultimately, what was your first impression when sitting down and kind of realizing what you got yourself into?
I don't know if I ever really had that moment when you're in it, because we had some pretty like sleepless, tired, gruesome, endless nights of shooting, and I was just so invested in this character. I invested all of my time, all of my energy preparing for the role that I didn't really think too much, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Probably until after I was done filming. I was like, what did I just do? Like, that was so much work. But like, actually being on set and being with the wonderful cast and crew, I think I was just really present and trying to take in what was happening to me and trying to use my surroundings, how cold I was, how tired I was, and let that feed my performance as much as possible.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it seems as soon as Terrifier 2 had a release date, conventions were they were so ready to add your name to the guest list. Is it surreal for you at all? For a month or so, I couldn't escape, David, Elliot, or yourself. I'm just curious as to how that feels from your perspective. Like, I know that that's the dream ultimately, but I'm sure it's probably a little overwhelming at times as well.
It's absolutely overwhelming. And sometimes it's overwhelming in a positive way, and sometimes it's overwhelming in a negative way. And I think it's so strange because I mean, I can't speak for every actor, but at least for myself, the main reason why I wanted to become an actor is because I felt so comforted by films, and I felt so like I felt less alone when I would watch a film, and I wanted to do that for other people. I wanted people to feel seen from my work. I wanted people to feel less alone when they saw characters I was creating, and I wanted them to feel valid. And then, there comes a film every now and again that has a lot of eyes on it, and you don't expect that. And you're like, holy shit, it is really scary to be perceived. It is horrifying because so many people are looking at you. So many people are judging you for better or for worse. I've gotten some really wonderful people reaching out saying they loved my performance and they loved this. And I also got people that think I'm trash, and that comes with the territory. And it really puts it in perspective, because you have to take it all with a grain of salt. People that love you and people that hate you. Because if I were to believe the people that thought I was the best actor they've ever seen, I might want to give up. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm the shit. There's no going up from here. But if people think I'm trash, I might want to give up, because I'm like, well, I'm trash. Why am I even trying? So I try to take it all with a grain of salt and try to stay as centered as possible. But in the end, I am extremely grateful for all the doors that Terrifier 2 has opened for me.
And this is kind of, I'm going off of my script here, but this is more based on like what you're telling me. You grew up watching old Hollywood. You're somewhat like classically trained as far as acting goes. For me, I liked the film quite a bit. My only issue with it was the length. I felt like it could have maybe went through a little bit of editing to maybe tighten it up a little bit. But that doesn't mean it's a bad film. I just thought that it maybe could have gotten to some of those stronger beats a little bit faster. From your perspective, you've seen these films, you've sat and watched them, especially now that there's one that you're in. Is there anything that you would change about this particular film? I mean, if we need to, I can hide this from the powers that be, but I'm just kind of curious as to what you would have done to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I remember when Damien told me initially, like a year ago, how long he wanted the runtime to be. I was like, don't do that. That's awful. That's too long. Nobody's going to want to see that. But then I got to thinking about it, and it's already a niche film. It's already, not everybody's going to love this film because of the gore, because of the type of story we're telling. So in the end, I really respect that Damien decided to tell the story he wanted to tell. And I think he did do it in service of the fans, because it was fully funded by fans.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to just give everything to the fans. And I really respect that. And when I did see the film in theaters the first time, I didn't really have that much of a problem with the runtime. And it might have been because like it was such a fun experience watching it in theaters, and it could have been that's why it flew by for me. But in the end, I was really happy with the finished product. And I think that's just a testament to Damien's hard work. And who knows what will happen. I know for 3, he's thought about breaking it up into 2 films, 3 and 4. Who knows if that will happen? And maybe it's because he wants to tell so much, and maybe he doesn't want it to be as long as this one. But in the end, like, I know that's been a pretty common criticism amongst people, whether or not it's too long. And some people say yes, some people say no. But in the end, I do feel that Damien made the film he wanted to make. And as an artist, I just have to respect that.
Yeah, that's understood. And I mean, another good point is that with the first film, that was one of the issues. Most people said it was too short. So I mean, you can't you give a moose a muffin, everyone's gonna complain regardless. So we're kind of wrapping up here. I for fans that are just becoming acquainted with you, myself included, is there a particular performance? Obviously we talked about A Taste of Christmas, but is there maybe something else that people should take a look at? I watched your reel as well. Jason Segel scenes, like there's a lot to see. So I'm curious as to what you would say is maybe the next step for people wanting to know more about you.
Well, if they want to see some of my past performances, I think some that I'm most proud of are a lot of the short films I've done. And I think short films were made very similarly to Terrifier 2. It was a very small crew, very intimate. And I love when art can be made in that fashion. And I really loved my my performance. I was really proud of in A Taste, no, I'm sorry, not Taste of Christmas, Miss Barton's Famous Cakes. And it's a film. It can be found on YouTube, as well as a Princess Cut. And they're both very different characters, very different women. And I think a Princess Cut won a couple different awards, and maybe also Miss Barton's Famous Cakes, who, by the way, I met Charlie, who plays Jeff in Terrifier 2, and I recommended him for that character to Damien for Terrifier 2 because he was so great in Miss Barton's Famous Cakes. It was a nice little fun Easter egg that I was like, he'd be perfect for Jeff, and he auditioned and he earned the role. So that's a nice little fun piece of information. But yeah, look out for my stuff. You might like it. If you don't, that's fine too.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And before we go, is there anything else you'd like to mention before we let you go? Terrifier 3, we kind of touched on slightly. You have the fetus in post-production with Bill Moseley. The floor is yours.
I mean, not really. I just want to thank everybody that's been in full support of Terrifier 2 and of Sienna. It's been, like I said, overwhelming, and overarchingly, the overwhelming feeling has been a positive feeling. So I'm really grateful for everybody, and hopefully they'll continue to follow Terrifier 2, and maybe they'll want to keep seeing me in films. I hope that is the case. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting and loving the film.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. I mean, I gave honest criticisms, positive, negative, and I will say that the defense is in your favor. Uh, they come out in full force and let me know that a movie can be long. Here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing, and Lauren, you're doing just fine. Thank you for the time, and I'll let you know, or I'll tag you in my review for A Taste of Christmas. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the remaining episodes of Terrifier featuring yours truly, or featuring you, Lauren LaVera.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you.